We covered it already.
Hot too.
Pretty hot.
I think the motion fly.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Town of Cedar Lake Stormwater Board meeting to order today. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Wendy, can you lead us in a roll call, please?
Brian Leesick.
Here.
Bob Grosick.
Here.
Ben Kinchelow.
Here.
Don Alpha.
Here.
David Austin. Jeff Bungie. Eric Bosma.
Here.
Julie Rivera. And Wendy Schmidtke. Here.
All right, in review of the minutes from January 14th, 2025, was there any questions or any deliberation at this point in time?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 14th, 2025.
All right, and I'll second that.
Brian Leesick.
Yes.
Bob Grosick.
Yes.
Ben Kinchelow.
Yes.
In review of item number 2, we have claims fund for fund number 650 to the amount of $84,476.29. Was there any review or questions regarding this?
Not at this time.
All right.
Just making sure the numbers match up from what it was last time. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve Fund 650 in the amount of $84,476.29.
I'll second that.
Brian Leesick.
Yes.
Bob Grosick.
Yes.
Ben Kinchelow.
Yes.
Okay, in review of claims fund number 652 to the amount of $94,619.31. This is for the 2017 storm refund bond.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve Fund 652 in the amount of $94,619.31.
And I will second that.
Brian Leesick.
Yes.
Bob Grosick.
Yes.
Ben Kinchelow.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to claims for fund number 654, $80,332.76. Was there any questions about this storm capital fund? And this was for the Woods of Cedar Creek drainage improvements for PGX Inc.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve Fund 654 in the amount of $80,332.76.
And I'll second that.
Brian Leesick.
Yes.
Bob Grosick.
Yes.
Ben Kinchelow.
Yes.
All right, coming out with some more money. In review of claims for fund number 656, this is 2017 storm debt service to Huntington National Bank to the amount of $47,700.01. Any questions or deliberation on the approval of these funds?
I'll make a motion to approve Fund 656 in the amount of $47,700.01.
And I'll second that motion.
Brian Leesick.
Yes.
Bob Grosick.
Yes.
Ben Kinchelow.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to update item letter A, we have the Angie Mikolajczyk property at 12806 Lee Court. Anything to share around that?
We all received Angie's email. I think I responded internally to everybody. If you want me to go through that response, I can, or if you wanted to mull it over more, we can wait.
I haven't had a chance to look at it, so
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you.
I mean, I can go through it really quick. So what documents were submitted? A Lot 1 yard bond from October 2009. Those aren't at all uncommon, especially later in the year before final grading and final seeding can take place. So typically, developers will post bonds to basically do that in spring. Second item that was submitted for review was a letter from Lot 2, kind of termed it the Miller letter, summarizing some issues with their flooring installation and basement foundation cracking from 2008. Hello? Oh, Jeff just joined online. Not a whole lot to comment on that. There can be many reasons for foundation cracking, not necessarily just drainage per se. So, I mean, we read through the entire thing. There's no reason for the cracking, I guess, noted in that letter, and I believe Mr. Miller is the current owner of the property still. Lee Cove development plans were submitted. Some were review sets, some were the approved set. From what our files show, the approved set for that subdivision was either a June 2nd or June 14th set. Some of the sheets had varying dates in there between June 2nd and June 14th. The submittals that showed rear yard pipe drainage were part of an April 10th, 2006 set. So they were part of a review set that were not part of the approved set. I can't tell you why they came out or whatnot, but they were not a part of the approved set from what we can find. Plan Commission meetings were submitted from 5/17, 6/21, and 7/19 of '06. I didn't view anything in there that was atypical of Plan Commission meeting minutes. A letter regarding Lot 5 soil testing was provided. The letter was to the original developer, Bruce Young. It was completed by S&H Engineering at the time. That engineering company is no longer in business. They merged with McMahon Engineering a couple of years ago. There were some recommendations basically regarding what we call undercuts, essentially removal of poor soils to support foundations. Undercutting is not abnormal. We do it on roads. It's done in building trades a lot as well to provide a stable foundation for the foundation of a house, stable base. No follow-up information was done to that, if it was done correctly or not, so I can't make any conclusions on that. Then a Lot 7 foundation letter was provided. It appears to have been related to a already constructed foundation wall. And without more context to the original issue, it's hard for us to make any conclusions on that. I believe the engineer recommended corrections to it, and we don't know if they were constructed or not. We received a separate email on 1/15, so the following day of the original email there on 1/14. This one had a document, essentially 07503 Lot 1 new construction. That's essentially the town building file on the lot. Didn't have a lot of comment on that either. It's a lot of internal documents that we don't typically see. So there's that. And then another email was submitted on 2/5 regarding coordination and communication with Sheehy Well. I believe Economy Well constructed the current well on the parcel right now. They are no longer in business, from what I've heard. I believe Angie went to Sheehy to get a cost to relocate that well. I don't remember what the exact number was. I didn't write that down.
Yeah.
You can come up if you like, yeah.
I
I have documents for all you to look at, as far as what.
Hey Angie, can you just state your name?
Hi,
and your-
Angie Michaelchuk, 12806 Lee Court. Yes, I got an estimate from Sheehy.
Was it
Um,
7, 8 grand from?
it was close to $9,000.
Okay.
If they can do it, they made a comment, and I have a copy of it for all of you to see. May I pass it out?
Well, to continue on, you noted that the well was not registered.
That's what they said, yeah.
Again, not uncommon, although all wells should be registered. It's a requirement from the state. It's really difficult for the town to enforce that because we are not copied on well record database items, but there's nothing on the current well record database right now. And then there was a second email. I interpreted as Sheehy agreeing with what I said at the last meeting about the existing well being a 20-foot offset requirement between any kind of surface water drainage or underground pipe. So that's pretty much what I got. And then I, through the Indiana Department of Health, separation standards for private water wells on an email.
Okay, I gave you two packets of information and then two loose documents. The first document, of course, is my platted survey. That's the current one that I have. It was given to me. It was done in 2011. I am waiting for another updated one, perhaps. They said it would take a couple of weeks. I talked to Glenn. The second loose document is a document that Sheehy Well had provided me in their email, said specifically to look number 312 IAC about well locations. And on there, she said pay particular attention to that. So it says to protect the well against surface water, ponding, drainage, or flooding, materials shall be placed around the pitless unit or finished well casing in manner. So she just gave me that, so I just wanted to give you that because the second packet is more of a recent item. It is the email from Sheehy that says, from Brianne, and she had submitted the estimate, and I'd like to just read what they wrote on it. This is a very difficult yard to access. Potential new well site is on the north side of the house. Front yard has a hill. Approach from southeast to get a rig from location might be possible. Approach from empty lot on west side might be possible. There is hardscape, deck and pathways, and lots of landscaping and trees. Site preparation ahead of drilling is the responsibility of the homeowner. Assume back truck for spoil management and bore to get laterals from well location to tank will be necessary. This estimate does not include cost for a back truck or boring. Town of Cedar Lake would need to mark out easement ahead of drilling. Drilling equipment will do damage to the yard. Sheehy Well is not responsible for damages to driveways, landscape, hardscape, private utilities, private underground infrastructure such as perimeter drains, or site restoration. If rig is mobilized and unable to get the well location, cost for mobilization is $300. So that estimate was $8,823.82. And Brianne, I had emailed her because I had a question, and the question I had was, she said it indicated the property is accessible on the southeast side, so I just said that's where the sewer, electric, and gas lines are, so I don't know if she wanted to fix that. So she responded by saying, the new well location would be on the north side of the house. Tom thought there might be two ways he could get in, but neither are good, and neither are sure bets. If he tries to drive into well location from southeast, we would be crossing driveway and there are trees in the way. We are also concerned about how steep that hill is. The drilling rig has to get level to drill, so if we are inclined, the truck jack stands can be leveled out a bit, but then it is less stable, and a certain point is simply unsafe. So she said the boring, she said it was anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. So I would have to say, at a low estimate, it would be $20,000, not including all the other damages for the property. So I submitted to you the platted survey, and the reason I gave that to you is because I wanted you to see exactly where the well is located. The well is right on the cusp there, if you're looking at the platted survey. There's 30 feet from that corner, let me see, that would be the southwest corner of the house to the property line. So that's 30 feet, and the well sits at the 15 mark. Now, on the survey, it looks like a little bit more towards the building, but I'm not exactly sure. But that's what I got. So you can see it's not actually in like the center of the drainage easement, it's just on the line. So I don't even know if that would be something that we would even need to do, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, the problem, Angie, is that you have a lot of low-lying area right next to that well.
Uh-huh.
And we can't get a conveyance system in there without having offset issues. So in order to drain that corner, I don't see how we drain it without moving that well.
Okay, and for what reason?
It doesn't meet the offset requirements that she even said. We can't put pipe in the ground.
Okay. All right.
Like, that's what I said at the last meeting, is that we can't, and that's really where the crux of your problem is the area around the well that's not draining. And if we can't install anything next to it, I don't know how we move it. There was some thought about putting in a perforated pipe, but it's not allowed, it's not a water quality pipe, so.
Okay. Are we finished?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did a little research about what Don is talking about. First of all, he had mentioned I talked to the Lake County Department of Health. On January 17th, I talked to Mr. George O'Donnell. He's the environmental sanitarian. He said there's no reason to move our well, that they're mostly concerned about the distance between septic systems, and that we live in Cedar Lake, which is a closed-line sewer system, and not in the location of the well. He also said that stormwater only goes maybe about 5 feet, and our wells are deep enough that it would not disturb the well water. Also recognized we have other protections installed for drinking water, which is in your packet. I had given you a test system from Osby as well. And he said if we wanted to, we can give the town our Osby test results, so that I did. He said they're not concerned about any nitrates or nitrites, and the bacteria tests we could perform with Macroban if we wanted to, just to do it. He said that if the town had any further concerns to call him directly, or Ray Nessett, he's the head sanitarian, he said that he has talked before with inspectors from Cedar Lake and they should know who he is. Okay, so I talked to him. I talked to Tim from Whippy Well. I talked to Brandon from Beach Well. I talked to Jason from Sharp Well Drilling. He, of course, you know, Sowell's Well, Darrell. I talked to Quality Well. KS Engineers and Advanced Engineering, which I believe Mr. Oliphant may do some business with, but all of them had said that they see no reason to move a well for stormwater, that it's not a contaminant. So, there's also some other things to consider. I had looked up the site features that risk well contamination include cesspools, dry wells for gray water, soils which have been chemically treated, such as to provide termite barrier, farm buildings, manure pile, livestock yard silos, and fertilizer storage. Consideration should also be given to surface water runoff from the adjoining properties. Highways and roads, the properties above ground. So I said our current well is located on the highest ground possible on our property. And then that's what HUD said, because I looked up, it said a well should be located at the highest point. So surface water can drain away from the well. Wells should be located in an area that will not pose a threat of contamination to water resource and will provide protection for health, safety, and welfare. So as long as I'm saying this, the only possible well location, if they can even get on the property, because like I said, if they can't do it, there's still a charge to bring the equipment out, would be the northwest corner out about 10 feet. And that is lower elevation than is the other side by quite a bit, because the water runs down.
Angie, I'm not sure what to tell you. If somebody wants to go above a recommendation that I make, I will not lose sleep over it. But you just said yourself, you can't direct surface water towards it. That's exactly what we're doing.
Okay, well, I don't know.
If anybody up here wants to overrule what I said, or any in the building department, like I said, I will be fine with whatever recommendation I say, but I'm not going to change my recommendation.
I'm not asking you to, sir, and I don't know why. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I just wanted to tell you the people that I've talked to. So, what I had done, which is your second packet there, and this is something that I went and I tried to get a history, because it almost seems like to take one step forward, we have to take two steps back to find out, like, what's going on and how that this occurred, but not that it matters moving forward, but the one thing that does matter is it dawned on me, I never went to the county to get the final plot for Lee Cove, so I did that. And something strange is that it was approved on the Plan Commission back in 2007 on January 17th, and then it got recorded, and that's the second packet of information with like the old stuff. It got recorded, and on there it says, the easement is hereby granted to the town of Cedar Lake for the installation of a drainage swale, ditch or waterway upon and along the strip of land designated on the plat and marked drainage easement for the purpose of handling the stormwater. So I saw that in there, and that was recorded in January of 2007, and then it got amended. And there was an amended recording plat in December of 2007. And I have that here, it's in your packet. And from that, which I didn't know, and I don't know if Mr. Oliphant was aware, they changed, basically what they did was change for it to say utility easement, drainage easement, to add utility easement in all the easements.
Which, again, is not atypical. It should have been both from the start, in my opinion. I don't know why it wasn't. Because back then, not so much now, utility companies were installing utilities in rear yards. They pretty much do that in the front yards now. I don't know if that was an oversight or why it was changed, less than a year later.
Yeah, like 6 months after it was filed, it was changed.
That's an administrative type amendment to it. The substantial portions of the plat remain changed, specifically boundaries and whatnot.
Okay.
It happened. Nobody wants to see it happen, but it does happen.
Yeah. Well, the reason I gave you the packet is because, like I had said, and maybe I didn't bring it up last time, and if I did, forgive me for repeating myself. But the engineer did say that no permit should be issued for buildings until the drainage, the stormwater drainage and the soil erosion was done. And however, it got overlooked.
I believe that's referring to what we call a Rule 5 permit. They need that Rule 5 permit before they can break ground.
Okay.
That would be my expectation of what that was.
Okay, well, at any rate, that's what it said, and there was permits issued, and that's why the well is where it's at.
What does that do with the well?
Do people not need permits to build homes and construct them?
Yes, but that has nothing to do with the Rule 5 permit. Rule 5 permit is simply soil erosion control. It's a state permit. They operate under the town's general permit to essentially control sediment and erosion during construction. Not long-term, during construction.
Okay, well, that's your profession. I don't really know. To me, you're just like speaking Chinese. All I'm trying to say is shouldn't...
I'm just saying it has nothing to do with the well.
Right, but shouldn't things be placed... Shouldn't the drainage have been installed prior to them building the home? Because
they're separate issues. So a Rule 5 permit, which is now called a CSGP permit, is only maintaining soil erosion control during construction. It does not relate to necessarily installation of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
It is merely controlling sediment and erosion control from a construction site.
Okay,
It's
with
an
the,
MS4, it's a part of MS4.
okay. With saying that, I just want to say that in some of the other research, it said that a pipe could be 10 feet from the well, if we went with a pipe. Because that's what it shows in the preliminary plat. And if you could see, I don't know, actually, I think I emailed it to Mr. Lisa, but I didn't give it to anybody else. But this was the preliminary. And I don't know if you want to pass around that. You guys can have that, I have an extra one. But on that one, you can see that there was extensive surveys done for the topography, all kinds of things before they should even put in the subdivision.
But this is, like I said, this is a review set. This isn't even the final plat.
Yes, I am aware that this is the preliminary plat, but this is the one they started to work off of, and it shows engineering plan. I mean, I've never seen any of this stuff with any other
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, Andy.
Grading plan.
It's dated April 10th, 2006. This was going through review. This isn't what was approved. So we can't, April, because if you look at the plat, this is not how the plat is reflected in the recorded plat.
Okay, well,
There's
that's...
no a la A on it at all.
The point is that they knew that there was an extensive study to be needed done before building that subdivision, but then when it came to final approval, they didn't take into consideration the drainage that they discussed in the preliminary plat. And like Brian said last time, Mr. Lasik said last time, I mean, that's what happened. We don't even have to talk about the history. We have to talk about moving forward. And, you know, I don't want to argue with you, Mr. Oliphant, but, you know...
Well, we can't even get 10 feet separation from that well if we put a pipe.
Okay, but I can't even move my well.
The well is on the drainage easement. We have 15 feet. If we put a pipe in, it'd be at the middle of that, which is 7.5 feet. We cannot get, I mean, again, if somebody wants to overrule me, more power to them, but...
Okay.
I mean,
Are you getting water in your house?
No. It's just in the back, it's just in the back, probably from my property line, maybe about 10 feet in. But, and the side, so that's the west, and then the north side from the neighbor, because he's on a hill also.
It's kind of...
Let me ask you a question. Do you think this is worth the investment on your own dollar?
I think it's ridiculous, to tell you the truth, ask the Stormwater Board for help and having to face the $20,000 plus property damage. I mean, you're looking at, on the north side, I have a drain that, you know, my personal drain for infrastructure that runs all the way across that yard. And then, like I said, he's not even promising that they can get it done. And why would I do that with no promises that anything else is going to be done? That's kind of silly, I would think.
I'm still trying to connect the dots on why this is being brought to the board and why this should be being spent using town funds.
Excuse me?
I'm still trying to connect the dots on why this is being brought to the board in order to be using town funds for such a project.
Okay. There's no drainage easement there that said that it should be there. So, you know, I mean, this is the thing, I mean, I have thought about possibly having a professional landscaper that does drainage and maybe like retaining walls in certain areas, because that's not just the issue on the west side of the property. I got garden windows that are going, you know, on the other side of the house that I have to contend with. I have to do that. Plus in the front, we had, the soil was going towards the garage. I had to build that up too, and in the center of the thing, you know. So I had thought about possibly getting a landscaper to do it. I talked to 3, and this was like a year and a half ago. I don't remember all their names, but one was a guy here, I think his company was called Tadpole, to possibly do it, you know, ourselves. And I don't have a problem with that per se, but what are we going to do about that corner? That's the problem, is just that corner.
Are you the original owner?
No,
When did you purchase the house?
2021.
So all this happened years before, was anything disclosed at your closing?
No, there was, at my closing, they had a insurance claim for $19,000, and the previous owner said it was because that there was a leak in the kitchen, and that, that's how they got the new cabinets, that's what they had said. But, you know, we didn't question it, the realtors, they were Macaulay and Macaulay, you know, they didn't really question it, and we just took it as is. It wasn't until later, I mean, I can go back in history, but, I had a Don's foundation repair come out because I have a crack in the garage, and he said that it was odd because there's a knee wall in the garage. I don't know what they did in the basement, and we don't have any water in the basement, thank goodness. So it looks like perhaps there were some foundation issues that,
Beforehand?
yeah, weren't disclosed to us, that we didn't know.
So would that go back to
That would be
the title company?
Yeah.
they get in the legal aspect of it, which I'm not gonna dive into.
Yeah.
I have a letter here from the previous owner, if that would help.
If it suits the board.
It doesn't suit me.
Oh.
We don't even know who it is.
We'll wait for public comment at the end, if you can, please.
I'm Bruce Young, by the way, I'm a developer, developed that
I
property.
have the floor, thank you. So, I don't know, you know, if the health department says there's no reason to remove my well, and, I know that for a pipe, it could be 10 feet away from the well. I don't understand the problem. And I don't understand the issue with saying we don't know why the town has to pay, it's because the area that needs improvement is the designated drainage easement and utility easement now for the town. So you're saying that I could go in there and just dig up a hole and fix it myself and eat that expense? You know, if I could do that, I just need something in writing saying that I could do it.
Nothing for the commissions to do that.
Thank you for providing this very informational and putting together all the documents and calling all the people and contractors. If you can let us review this and talk internally before making any kind of public comment
Okay.
for the next meeting in March.
There's one last thing that I want to say. I wasn't told not to give the name, but I was told by another engineer that there could be pressure classification pipe, C900, that would do the job without needing to move the well.
It's
And
water
they-
main quality pipe, as they call it.
And they said it wouldn't cost any more than anything else, so.
That is what the 20-foot is. It's still water main quality pipe, which is C900. That is the
I'm just-
20. It's 50, I think, if it's non-water main quality. So that doesn't change anything for me.
Yeah, you still have to.
You still need separation from it.
Right.
Well, again, here's the problem. We gotta get around that well to get to the low spot. The low spot is east of the well, northeast, east. Which means we are not putting a swale right next to it, which means we have to run pipe to it. We cannot get 20 feet of separation.
It was Nice Engineering I spoke to,
That's fine.
which is, I believe the town works with that, so. Like, I don't, and I know, Mr. Oliphant, I trust what you're saying, but you have to understand the circumstances that I'm in.
I understand that, but these are numbers. These are standards that we live by. I can't, like, if the math doesn't work out, I can't create it,
Okay,
right? How am I gonna get separation?
I don't know what that means.
Distance from your well to where we have to install infrastructure.
Okay, but
There's no room with where the well is sitting now.
okay, from what I know, and I'm sure you know more, but they said for stormwater, there's not a problem, there's no contamination. The only thing that I do know, that I can repeat, is that a well needs to be 5 feet at least from the building.
I think it's 15.
15, I don't know, maybe it changed, but
I think
she-
that's why it's located exactly where it is. It's 15 feet from your house, and it's essentially on the line of the easement, because it had to go right there.
Oh, okay, well, what do you want me to do, close down my well? I mean, sir, it's...
We did not locate your well, Angie.
Right, neither
But
did I.
now you're trying to make this the taxpayers' cost to relocate it potentially.
Never. In fact, I think that I've said a couple of times I would pay for it, I just need permission to know what to do.
Well, I think she's provided that, have they not?
No, they said it's unsafe, and if they could even do it. And they would damage the driveway, they would damage all the infrastructure that we have around our house. I mean, come on, isn't that like gonna be $30,000 to $50,000? I mean, quite frankly, wouldn't it be just, if we get a crack in the foundation, just pay for that? $3,000 to $7,000 or whatever, wouldn't that be more feasible?
I don't know where to go from here.
Just let us review internally and talk it over after we can digest all of this information that you provided. Okay?
Okay, and I just want to say that the person I spoke to said, you know, that everything was great, Mr. Oliphant. It's just that I was told to suggest that pressure classification pipe.
That's fine, that's part of the 20-foot recommendation, and that's Indiana State Board of Health, or Public Health, sorry.
Okay. Thanks, Angie.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
All right, well, I wasn't
36
finished.
minutes into the meeting and we need to move on.
All right, well, here's the final plat, if anybody wants to see it. It's not a drainage easement, it's a drainage and utility easement. This whole time I thought it was just a drainage easement. Did you know that, Mr. Oliphant?
I don't remember which one I was looking at. I mean, the only one that comes up here, because it supersedes that, is the amended plat. You can see it right here.
Okay.
We just need to move on.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? Do you want me to?
I want you to hang tight. I want you to give us some time to review all this information that you have provided for us, and we'll have an update for you next meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
yes. I'm sorry, could you also consider that if you don't wish to or think it's not feasible for you to help me, find some type of way that I could get permission to do it myself since it's the town's property, when you consider your information?
You can grade in a town easement, you just have to get the proper permits through the town. I don't see any reason you cannot do that. The provision you read off is a typical provision for drainage easements, and where it says install, so when it says install and maintain, that does not mean that they are going to install. It just gives them the right to install if they ever need to. It gives them right of access effectively, and then to be able to do the uses in that provision.
Okay.
So,
So let me just ask.
but it is still your property.
Okay, but it was supposed to be installed, am I not mistaken?
I don't know, the plans are not that clear. They show drainage areas going that way. Should
Yeah.
there have one? I don't know, I'm speculating at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Lisa, and the board.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the Justin Latz property, 7320 West 140th Place.
Okay, so as a result of the last meeting in January, we were directed to get appraisals for that in order to start eminent domain procedures on it. It is this guy right here. We actually received our first appraisal this afternoon. Right, a little quicker than I thought I was going to get here. So one down, we still are waiting a second one just to follow statute. And then that'll be in the town attorney's hand to continue those procedures. I think he said at the last meeting they can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So I forwarded the appraisal to him this afternoon as well, so we will wait for the second one and keep that ball rolling.
Okay. Moving on to Mike Schmidt, 7518 Lakeshore Drive, also known as Merton Drive.
So that is this guy. This subdivision was submitted as part, or a lot of this subdivision. 129th Place, Knight Street, Colfax, 129th Avenue, Morse Lane, and then Merton. They were submitted as part of a community crossing application on January 29th, prior to that deadline for what they call the first call of 2025 funding. Typically, we hear back from those sometime in April, kind of the way it's been going the last couple of years. See if we got them. You look perplexed, Ryan.
I don't know, I thought there was a bill that was trying to kill that.
Huh?
I thought there was a bill that was trying to kill the CCMG.
Well, there's a bill that's potentially out there to force municipalities to create a wheel tax to be eligible for it.
10-4.
So, I don't know where that's going, but I think it's still alive. I need to double check, but I think that's more in terms of trying to keep it funded. Moving forward, especially since they've gone up to $1.5 million matching, which is really cool. So that is part of that, and if you're curious, we submitted another subdivision for that as well. The one kind of northeast of all the old Zips building, so kind of up in here. All those streets would be part of that one, so 2 separate applications, but the first one would cover Mr. Schmitz. So that's the update on that. Just kind of sit on our hands and wait until April and see what we got.
Looking forward to it. Next up is 12806 Marsh Landing Parkway.
You can imagine I have not heard from the railroad about this one. We will continue our efforts and see where it goes. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
surprised, so we'll get there.
Okay, next items are the public works projects with 2024 project rank.
So I talked to Tim about A and B. Those are kind of the ones that are outstanding in some respects. He says they will be spring projects. Those are all encumbered easements. Woodland Hills may be a little more difficult for some of the large oak trees within that kind of corridor. We may have to, I think they're big enough that Public Works probably doesn't want to touch them. Like they're big boys. So those are, it's the cul-de-sac on 130th Court. That drains down to American Legion. Essentially the only drain in the cul-de-sac. Runs between lots 4 and 3 and kind of comes down here. Eventually makes its way down to the viaduct. Dewey Street, I don't really have anything new on this still. Jeff, you're online. Have you heard from Mr. Frick?
I have not. 2 attempts in the last week and a half, and nothing as of yet.
Okay. Guess we can keep trying and see where it goes.
All right, in regards to the other additional projects, I guess the woods of Cedar Creek, that just needs to be closed out.
With the Cedar Creek, we just gotta get eyes on it in the spring. We'll probably give it until May, just to give it a little more warm weather growing season to make sure the sod's taking. I think we had 5% retainage on that one. I think the bulk of it went out in your docket, number 654 today. So a bulk of that is done. We just need to kind of wait till the spring so we can verify the sod that was planted a little late took.
All right, and then moving on to the Woodland Shores Storm Sewer Improvements, the Hines property, formerly Becker.
So I did get the easement for the eastern adjacent parcel, referred to as the Osan parcel. Is this one, Osan Living Trust. So David did write up the easement documentation. I believe Jeff got it, and it was recommended that he reach out to the homeowner to get it signed.
Okay.
And then that one should move, because that is the only easement we need left.
Great.
Don, I don't know if you wanna add this to this, but 136th Place, right across the street from that first house right there.
Okay?
Yeah, road is sinking where the pipe's at.
Cool.
It's, metal corrugated. It goes from, it goes into that square basin that runs along the property line and then to that.
So if everybody remembers this one, it's probably going on 2 years now, but this was it's essentially divided into 2 phases, because of the cost of it. So the initial plan was to run between lots 2 and 3 here, install some drainage at the low area on 136 to kind of pick that up. It's actually a little over here, but to shift it down this line, then we hit an existing finger of old infrastructure kind of in this easement line back here, and it runs down between lots 19 and 20, here and here. And then, yeah, once it hits that large, graded
Yeah,
structure,
pretty big.
this stretch that runs down 136 Place and kind of jogs down this like boot right away here, and then eventually makes it down here. We've shot all of that, and through here it's just, if it's not a belly, it's back pitch. So initial thoughts were we would replace this entire line, but I think estimates came in, this was 2-3 years ago now, probably 300,000. So it wasn't a small fix. So if there really is an issue here that's now potentially leaking and causing the road to cave in, that's an issue.
Yeah, 'cause Tyler and I went over there and looked at it last week, it's getting worse. And I know we cambered that, and I don't remember if it was starting to rot away or if it's starting to rot away now. I mean, like you said, it's been 3 years ago.
Does Tony still have that video? Probably not.
Probably not, since we replaced all the, software on the camera van. I mean, we could probably go out and re-camera it.
With snow on its way, it's gonna have to wait till next week, I
That's what I
imagine,
figured.
but, yeah, if he can get eyes on it to figure out what's going on, if it's something simple and we can repair.
I mean, that's something that we could, that's something that we could do.
You can access, yeah. I don't remember where it kind of flip-flopped between CMP and concrete.
Okay.
No, but if it's just a joint failure, maybe we can do something about it.
Yeah,
But
we
if
could
it's
cut
caving,
it straight up and,
I'm more concerned about it. Kind of, the bottom of old CMPs
I know.
aren't great.
And then
If it's
Tyler
eroded out.
mentioned something, how it goes down the street to like that little rock driveway or whatever it is, that's next basin's there, he doesn't know if that's failing out too. 'Cause we didn't get a chance to camera it, we just went over there and looked at it.
Some of that's new, but I know a lot of old ties into it as well. But I don't know where that break is offhand. I probably remember 3 years ago, but I don't remember
I
anymore.
don't remember, yeah, I don't remember either.
I can look back in our records that we did a couple of years ago and just see
Okay.
what we have just existing wise. But yeah, if he can put that on his list to camera it.
Okay.
You said is it the north side of the road, I'm guessing?
Yeah, well, it's both.
Both?
It's going all the way across the street.
Because there are new inlets that were installed probably in '09, I guess.
Yeah.
Like here and here, but I know they tied into existing systems, so.
Okay, I'll let Tony, we'll go out there and re-camera to look to see.
Okay.
I just wanted to make you aware of it, so you know.
I mean, it might extend the scope a little bit.
Okay.
The problem was is it got super deep as we went down.
Yeah, it was really deep right there.
So that's one reason it was.
Because as you're going
not cheap.
downhill now, so you're coming downhill and that was all really deep.
Mhm.
I thought you guys smoked it too.
Yeah, we did.
We were smoking up here because there's so
Yes, there's so much. We
Finger
walked that
drain.
whole entire Bolt Streets from
It's-
Morris all the way down.
It's like a spaghetti, like
Yeah,
just
it's-
noodled everywhere. It's a mess. It's old clay tiles. I think one runs under. I think we figured out what happened back in the day is that lot 2 was re-subdivided in some respects. I think they were all old 50-foot lots.
Yeah,
These 2 lots
Yeah.
essentially merged in from 3 to 2. So you can see the 50, then it got notched out to 20. This one also got 20. The original sewer that went in here before the subdivision actually ran down that line between the 2 old lots. And when they re-subdivided, nobody knew it was still there. And they basically re-subdivided into larger lots and built a house over it. So there is a drain tile that runs under lot 2's house. I have no idea where it comes out on the north side of the
I
house,
don't either.
but
We couldn't find it.
that house historically has had a lot of drainage issues over the years. So, little history,
More you know.
more you know.
Did we discuss Schubert Dodge Street storm sewer
I
system?
checked in with the surveyor today, he says they're still working on it. I think they've been slowed down with some of the weather, but we were supposed to have it by now. But I don't.
You called it.
Huh?
You said the date. You said that wasn't gonna be here before February 5th, so.
Well, yeah. In order to do anything for that CCMG call, I wasn't, and there's no way.
Okay, moving on to new business.
Don?
Come on up. I'm assuming you're Chris?
Yep.
Okay, I asked Chris to kinda come out here.
Chris Warhoff, 1078 West 133rd Lane. You wanna start, or?
Sure, I'll give the brief overview here. So, at the last council meeting, this property, combining with some of the 2 lots below here, 3 lots,
All three of it, all the way back.
they received a waiver from the building moratorium to construct, what we think will be a commercial property development through here. Initial conceptual review is a detention basin kind of in this existing low-lying area. And this area loosely kind of drains, we'll call northwest to southeast through here, gets to the railroad. This has come up in the past, this area. It kind of drains through, and Chris, you can correct me when I'm wrong, because I'm sure I'm going to say something here that's not right, but I think there's a pipe that drains on the west side of the house,
No,
or east?
So both pipes in the pond are actually sealed off, so it doesn't seal anymore. So I know you say they have to go south, but again, I have to repeat this because I just strongly advise to do this. When they did the road widening project, my dad, who was part of all of that, I don't know if it was you or your boss or somebody else who else was part of it, he strongly recommended if you guys have questions, call him, but everything on 103rd Avenue was supposed to be tied in north with a new storm water, because everything from the church and the Banco subdivision, and everything west of my house on 103rd Place all drained into the pond behind Banco that the town bought for stormwater detention. So he is very adamant that you guys are supposed to be going north with it, and any questions you have to ask him. But for us to go south, because the pond in the backyard no longer drains south, the pipes are closed off on both north and south end. So the only thing that drains south through my yard would be my basement, and my sump pit. So the ditch is actually on the east side of the pool. You see the concrete pad with the line, right? So the ditch runs right there. You see it right where the red cap is? So it's almost right where the storm water goes through the yard. You can almost, if you go down a little bit with your arrow, like that is, and so that's where it starts. So, when you guys, after the road got widened on 100th Avenue due to stormwater, the softball field came in and added a parking lot and a field on top of what used to be wetlands that held a 15-foot wide by 2 feet deep ditch that held any overflow that did come south, and now it is no longer there. What is there is a 1 foot wide by 2 or 3 inch ditch that comes up just south of the second lot of my neighbor. We keep going south a little bit. So right where you're looking, see that little area is now what is supposed to hold the extra storm water that would go south, but it's covered in weeds, and then it gets alongside the tracks and keeps running south before it hits the pipe that goes across. But all of that has never been maintained in the 20 years, I mean, ever since however long it's been, so it doesn't hold water. So anytime it rains, my wife has to go across the street in her boots with her shovel and shovel out the ditch just to get the water from our yard to relieve to the little wetlands that's on the north side of the softball field property. So if you're gonna require him to go south, something's gonna have to be done with the water detention that goes south, because right now it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
That's my yard.
So, yeah, I mean, we've had conceptual meetings with town staff and whatnot about this development. That's what triggered the building moratorium waiver request from town council. So inevitably, they're going to be coming before plan commission to develop that parcel whenever. I don't know.
Right.
But part of that caveat was that they would at least explore what this system, because I think on their plans, they showed some type of pipe coming south.
Well, what I've told them they need to do is they're gonna have to go directly east and tie into the stormwater, because there is a pipe that goes in between that barn and the greenhouse and runs straight along that yard, right, and right basically above that ditch that we were just talking about.
Okay.
And if there's a manhole cover, there's two manhole covers in the end of my driveway, right at the corner of the easement and the road. And then there's another one on the entrance pipe on the, south side of the road. But I mean, the town has been over at my house 3 times.
Yeah, I know, we came and fixed it.
The covers,
Yeah.
I mean, cause it keeps it
It's a
rolling.
mess over there.
It's a mess. And I said, I mean, I
know.
said to you guys,
I remember talking
if
about
we gotta come in there and put a roundabout in there or something at the end, I mean, I can give up. I mean, you already got your pipes in the driveway. It wouldn't be nothing to take a little bit more and make it to where the trucks in the town can get in there and turn around.
Cause
stop trucks.
he's got everybody driving over it.
Yeah, they get in there and they turn their wheels, they just rip the concrete apart, and then the manhole cover.
So it keeps ripping the basement apart because they keep driving over it.
And where you have the yellow easement that goes south into Cook Street, no one's maintained it. There's no gravel, there's hardly any gravel, so anytime anyone does go south to turn around there, their trucks sink. They sink into the dirt and the ditches right there. So there would be a tree that needs to be knocked down, and they would have to probably extend the drive a little bit to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it stops, cause there's a little bit of gravel, and then it just
Yeah, and
goes
the lot.
lower.
If the neighbor ever wants to build on his extra lot he's got there, I mean, we'd have to extend the road anyway.
Well, luckily, at least it's a 60-foot right-of-way, which is rare for some of these interior streets.
Well, the road was originally went all the way through my property, but it was abandoned.
Oh, it went up to
It went all the
130?
way to 130th Avenue, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was abandoned. That roadway was originally went all the way through.
Okay.
And I said, and any of the questions, you have to direct him directly. He's in Florida.
Oh, I know.
He's watching, cussing and screaming right now.
Smart man.
He's probably yelling all the answers into the future.
I mean, we built the road, we did not design the road.
I know.
Based on the elevations we have, it would have been very difficult to get the water up.
Yeah.
I mean, what the project did do is it did capture all of this runoff that was coming down into here.
Well,
There's
and
a
I
12-inch
know,
pipe that
I mean,
was
I
high.
obviously I've lived there forever, but the Lindbergh subdivision and the Vanco Pond, like when it rained, that overfilled first, and the Lindbergh Street would flood.
It was underwater.
Before the water came south.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everything went that way. My dad said everything west of us, out on 153rd Lane, my street, all went that way. And that was the way that the project was designed to take the waters, according to him.
Yeah, all the roadway and everything north of the roadway now does go to that pond.
Well, but I'm talking about stuff south of it. It was supposed to go back to the
Just grade-wise, that'd be very difficult. I mean, unless you filled that in and pitched it north.
Right.
I'm only looking at what I got.
Also remember that my property, the property that we're speaking of, has 3 or 4 foot of fill that was added to it because we dug that basement for my grandpa when we sold the corner to CVS and we added the addition on my house. We didn't carry any fill there, but everything that came from my basement and the pool was dug up and was just added to that lot that made it that much higher.
Okay.
So.
I mean, we will, when it doesn't snow 4 inches like it will tomorrow, we'll get out there and take a look. So if you see somebody snooping around.
No, you're good. I mean, I'm down there taking the trees down now. I've got someone coming Thursday, I know, and I know that the pipe originally that went to the pond was right along 153rd Avenue, and at one point they added it to go to the end of the window factory, the window shop. But my dad claims that there used to be a drain tile in the center of the pond, and if we went out there and dug a leaf out, that the pond would drain. The only reason there's water in the drain right now is because the pipes on both ends of the pond are capped off.
Okay. I mean, I'll guarantee if there's a drain tile within that road, that's
Well,
gone
it's
now.
gone. Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, they're supposed to take possession March 1st because they wanna, they have permission or a letter from the Army Corps of Engineers to do whatever with the pond, and they wanna start doing.
Yeah, they need to do a delineation for that. I mean, they got a ways to go before they can put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah.
Just all the different approvals they need.
Right. So.
But, no, I mean, I would like to figure out if there's some way we can correct that or at least make it markedly better
Well, and if you, I mean, if you need my dad's number, I can stick it in the email.
He probably still has my number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he probably does.
He probably does.
He probably won't use it unless I have you call him, so.
Let us get eyes on it first.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can see. If we can piece together some type of, direction, we will. But no, I wanted you to come here because we were starting to have email conversations.
I had to talk with Nate and everybody else this morning.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
So what's going in?
The dance studio is bought.
One.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then potentially a multi-use building. There's no actual tenant besides the dance studio.
Okay. Any other public comments? Come on up, state your name, state your address.
Hi, Bruce Young, 3811 West 105th Avenue, Crown Point. This is my wife Camille. Camille Shoot. We're here, we own the property behind Angie, as you probably know by now. I'm not here to do any more mudslinging. There was a lot of mudslinging that was going on. But we're just here to say that we can help. We will help if we can. We own the property behind. We're looking to subdivide it into 2 lots. And if we can achieve that and work together to do it, we'd be more than happy to put a ditch back there to re-divert the water and not even touch the property and resolve a lot of issues.
Okay. Well, it's good to know.
Yeah, I think we tried to get a hold of you.
Okay.
To discuss, and I guess you gotta get through a few people to talk to you about that.
Okay, who'd you call?
I called Michelle, and Michelle was supposed to talk to.
Oh, you're calling here, okay.
Tim. Yeah, I didn't,
Apparently the telephone didn't work, so.
Yeah, it didn't work, but yeah, we would like to set up a meeting to discuss the stormwater.
Yeah, but keep it running through Michelle, and she can set it up.
Okay.
And we can sit down and talk.
Wendy, you think you want to take their phone number?
Yeah, I'll take your information.
Sure, and then.
Bruce Young, 219-746-4336.
Got it.
Again, there's plenty of property, we all know that behind her, that we could do something and put an easement, even if it, or a pit.
I think if you build houses back there anyways, you would have to do a swale anyways.
A swale,
It's kind of just our rear yard drainage standards right now,
Absolutely.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the previous neighbor did not have any problems with her house, so we do have a letter from her. So it has, again, been going on for quite a while.
Whatever it takes, I mean,
Yeah.
again, there was a lot of mudslinging go back and forth, originated when we first wanted to do this, but I'm not here for all that. I'm just here to say that we can help. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments before we adjourn tonight? All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great night.